Good afternoon, Josh Whitfield, founder of Signaliz.com and content marketing media. So appreciate you guys joining the video. We've got a few YouTube videos up already that talk about finding companies, identifying your ICP, prompting signals. We've also got one that goes in depth of the company signal enrichment and finding and verify emails. So I thought it was about time to really put out a video that where we talk about like how to put this all together. Like none of these APIs in and of themselves can really dramatically improve anything if you do not know how to put it all together. And we are going to build a solution in Signaliz, and I'll show you that in a minute, that does that. But in the interim, I want to show you how to put this together. So people in our arena, we use tools like Clay or Zapier or Make. We also use tools like Instantly or for outbound email or HeyReach for LinkedIn. So I'm gonna tie this all together at least in one campaign from beginning to end using Signaliz. And then you can at least get an idea of the power of what we built and what we're going to continue to build, especially as we get our campaign builder launched. So let me start off by just signing in and showing you from the very beginning. That's our homepage. We're going to sign in. Forgive me, I have a lot of different emails, but I'm going to get logged in here, and here we go. So in the beginning, we like to say, the first thing you want to do is obviously set up an ICP. We have a video for that. Today we're going to use Signaliz as ICP, which is here. This is one I created with AI, but you can also obviously import your Octave ones. We're going to go out and find some companies, and we're going to use our default Signaliz profile here. In our company database, it's going to select all that as list for today. Let's remove a few countries. And let's just do US here. Probably be easier if I do it this way. So let's get rid of these. There you go. That works. And we're going to use just the countries we have here. That'll make it easier. So US is there. You know what? I'll keep US, Canada. Let's kill Mexico. Let's kill everything but US and Canada just to make it fun. So Signaliz is pretty agile in the sense that you can do things multiple ways. I'm just doing it. There you go. We just left US. You can add, you can add whatever countries you want here. You can filter down to employee count if you don't like the mapping of the ICP. This is directly from the ICP. You can also just save it. So if you want to save the search, you can do that as well. And then I want to get a little bit more serious. So let's pull 1,000 companies here. And let's search our database and see what comes up here. All right, so we got previews of companies that fit our ICP. It says there's 366,000, which is nice. And let's push this to a webhook so we can start building the campaign in Clay. So let's do that. We're going to export to a webhook. We are going to pull up Clay here. We are going to, let's type in, there's webhook down there. Let's create a table with a webhook, and here is the webhook URL. Let's go back to Signaliz. Let's paste that, and then let's export our 1,000 companies. While that's running, we do have some features. So if you go into integrations and you set up a connection to Clay, then you can actually save webhooks. So that makes it a little bit easier. And there's our companies, and they're populating. So while they're loading, let's close this out. Let's start looking at our columns here. So we obviously want domain. We want description. Definitely want their LinkedIn URL. Company name is in here as well. Perfect. And I think that's really all I need. There's more in here, obviously, that I could use, but let's pull it that way. All right, so now we have companies. You can see it populating and pulling in. So let's find contacts. Now we have our own API to do this. I don't think, honestly, it's as well built out as I want it to be. It doesn't find contacts as easily as I want it to be. So I'm not going to use it in this video, but we do have one. We're going to keep building on it, making it better, making it more agentic. But let's just use Clay natively here. Let's go actions. Let's go find people. And there you go, find people. And then we're going to pull the companies that are in the Clay table. There's only 255 so far. And and we are going to we have 255 filters, so it's pulling from the table of companies, right? And then let's just choose, let's do C-suite at those companies. Those are big companies, so there's probably a lot of jobs. I don't think we need 1,400 people. So let's just say CEO and founder, maybe. Much better. So look, now we have 1,466 people. And then let's continue and let's put that in a new table, right? So we're going to import those people into a new table. And so far, right, all I've spent is we're downloading 1,000 companies, I think. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to download 1,000 companies. So far, to be transparent, like all I've spent is 1,000 at half a cent each. So let's see, $1 would be, we've spent $5 so far. So pretty awesome. Now let's get into the find people table, and we have people. So we've got 2,125 rows. Let's find emails. So we're going to add an enrichment. We're going to type Signaliz, and then we've got a lot in here. We're going to use the find email verification. Perfect. I think I have them all labeled under demo. So let me just see if I pull up that one. Yeah. Find emails with verification. Perfect. And then we need a name. So we'll go with full name. That should work. Actually we need company name. So company table, data, company name. Perfect. Not sure. Let's try that again. Find email verification. And then for whatever reason, it wasn't saving, but I don't know. Live video. What do you expect? So let's do this. Signalize. Let's just try any column and try that. Yeah, that worked. Okay. So now we need to change the company name here. I don't know why there was just a Clay thing where it wasn't importing, but let's go to company name. And now we're going to look for the job title of CEO. And then let me see which enrichment we're using here. So I don't really love this one. So that is the table I want to use. And this is a little bit structured. So find emails with verification. So just for the record, we're in the process of integrating into Clay. So that's why you see so many different options there. In the API docs, you're going to use find emails with verification. For reference, if you go to API documentation, find emails with verification. Very well documented here. Even some of the settings we recommend you use, and then the parameters, the API calls, etc. And then we have documented videos on YouTube as well as how to use these enrichments, and our help center. So our help center is pretty robust, just in case you're curious. Find contacts with emails. If you go to help here, you go to our videos, you'll see all of our videos. There's that video I mentioned. And then if you come into the API, find emails with verification. And so all of that is spelled out really, really well in our help menu. And then if you're not sure 100%, you can just ask the agent as well, which is built in here on the homepage, and you can just ask questions. So here we go. So let's get back to Clay. And we got to have the name, we got to have the domain of the company and the LinkedIn profile. And let's go ahead and save this. And let's not run it yet. Let's run a few. In fact, to be simple, let's start with row 9 where we left off. And let's run 91 more. So let's check these, right? So yes, we're getting an email. And then the question is it verified? Right? And then Is it verified for sending? Perfect. Okay. So far so good. And if you question the steps here, I want to show you that's detailed. So here we do the lookup of the email. Here we do email verification. And then we do an ESP check, so we can add that as well. And then if it's a catch-all, we do a catch-all check. So as you can see, these are populating here and we're getting that. We don't always get the ESP. I think most of the time we do. But you can see that data is here, right? So that's important for certain strategies. So the next thing we want to do is, let's see, did we run the rest of them? I must not have run the rest of them, but let's run a few here so we can see an entire screen. Because we want to use these we're going to build an actual campaign here. So might be a long video, but we're gonna go all the way to the end with this one. So there you go. I've already gotten a lot of verified contacts. So one thing you'll notice is that we're almost always finding emails and they're almost always verified, right? So just for context, this is redundant, so you really don't need both. I'm going to hide it. One is just to say that it went through normal verification, the second one through catch-all. But you see, like, just the coverage level. I mean, I randomly pulled 25 leads, and I think we've gotten one so far that hasn't found the email. I mean, the coverage is ridiculous on this API. It's around 80%, if not 90%. So email, finding, and verification, all in one. And to be transparent, we're using Million Verifier and Bounce Ban, which is what we use for our agency. We only use this process now to pull emails for our agency. And we're getting a better picture here. So of the 25, 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 25 so far. So still in the over 80% range. And this one's still running. So now I only want to send out of these 25 to verified emails. So let's filter on is checked. And we got, let's see, verified for sending. There you go. We got 25. And now we're going to, of those verified for sending, let's next think about what we would do next in the campaign. So we know the company, right? We've got the company information here. We know the contact, and we know their role and job title. So we've got everything in essence to build a campaign. So the next thing we're going to do is let's pull some signals on these companies. And so the reason why, if you notice, I didn't pull signals first is because I wanted to make sure I had a contact to reach out to that was verified. So let's now pull some signals. So let's do Signaliz. And I kind of find when I pull it up this way, browse templates, I get a better job. So company signal enrichment is what we're going to go for here. And we need, again, a company name, which is here. We need a domain. And then, this is just a catch-all of whether the email is verified. So we're going to say true. We're going to apply that template. And it looks like there's just something not working with the imports of the template. So let me see if I can, and maybe this column here. Yeah. So whatever's wrong with Clay on the import of the templates. But obviously, company name is not the first name. So let's import the company name. And company name, and then the domain is right. Find recent signals that define why, and then we would use company name. All right. And so what do you notice here, right? Number one, you're seeing a couple unique things here. First of all, you're seeing, obviously, we're giving it the company name. We're giving it the company domain. And then this is a prompt. So unlike traditional signal tools where you could say they would just give you hiring signals or news or technographics, right? We're coming in and we're putting in a prompt, right? And we're going very, very broad. Find recent signals that define why, and then this is obviously the company name we're reaching out to, would want to use Signaliz. So this is a key differentiation point with Signaliz, is that we actually prompt our signals, and this could be anything, right? So you could say things like, find firmographic and technographic indicators that this company is a good fit for this specific product, right? You can go as deep as you want. And then what Signaliz will do is it'll go deeper. More importantly, it'll give you the ability to use whatever model you want to execute this analysis. So here we are using Google Gemini 3 Flash Preview. If I take a break for a second and go into the settings of Signaliz, a couple things you may not know is that you can enable whatever models you want. So this is Open Router, and I have 23 models enabled, right? But I have 347 models that are not enabled. And these are things like ByteDance, right? Which I think is TikTok. This is Google's brand new model, Flash 3, hundreds and hundreds of models, right? So you can use whatever model you want and you can enable them in your workspace and that they'll be available in your drop downs. But we just didn't want to overwhelm you with like 300 models. And we have transparency. And so our cost model is very, very transparent as well. So whatever the AI generation cost is of the signal, we take that, let's just say it's 2.2 cents, and we round that down to 2 cents, and then we add a credit, right? So if it's 2.9 cents, we round it down to 2 cents and we add a credit. It would be 3 credits, which is 3 cents. And that's how we balance it out. So we only charge 1 credit for doing this, and then we round down all the time. So sometimes we make 0.01 cent per execution. Sometimes we make 99 cents, but it's completely random, right? But we're never making a killing, and we're only charging for the execution of the models. And we thought that was fair, and we were very transparent about our pricing. On email enrichment, right? To find an email and verify it, running through Million Verifier and Bounce Band, and only give you back verified emails, we charge 1 penny. If we just verify the emails, meaning you've already verified the emails, we charge half a penny. So we have built pricing models that we think are very, very fair, very, very transparent. And so now let me get back into one other piece here, API documentation. Gone out of our way to document everything in the API as much as possible. So we're using company signal enrichment now. If you go into API documentation, you can see we've also built some, what I think is game-changing data science principle type analysis, right? And I'm going to show you this in this company signal enrichment API. But we've enabled deep research. We allow you to tie your ICP specific to the signal search. We give you outreach intelligence, predictive intelligence. So a lot of detail. And you'll see that in the API and you'll see that in the outputs, right? This is a deep level output for one API call. So, and why that's important is because you now have choices on what you want to do and how you want to use that in your outreach, or use it in one way in email and another way in LinkedIn. So let's continue on. Let's get in there and let's show you this in real time, right? And so now I'm just going to save this. Looks like, just make sure I didn't make any errors there. And let's rename this so we know what it is. Company Signal Enrichment. And let's just run it. And hopefully I didn't make any errors on the API. That looks good so far. And let's run all 25. And so I want you to watch what's going to happen here, because you're going to get an immense layer of detail with every company signal enrichment. And the caveat here is, like, if you want to cut down the cost, then you just use cheaper models, right? So if you want to get less detailed analysis, then you can use like a GPT-4o mini, and that will cut down the cost to well below a penny. If you want to use higher detailed analysis, more insights, more predictions, then you use Google Flash, right? Google 3 Flash. And I want to show you what I mean, right? So as these come back pretty quick, and I think you'll agree for the level of detail we're getting, they're relatively quick. Here's our pricing, exactly as I said. So this API call costs 3 cents. We round down, so that's the 3 cents. We charge 1 base credit, right? So 3 cent API cost, 1 base credit, 4 total credits. Here's our signals. So very, very detailed. Look, we don't return a signal that's not cited, and we give you the cited source. We tell you what type of signal it is. We give you the detail, and notice the relevancy here, right? This signal is less than 30 days old. We're we show a relevant score, a confidence score, and we tell you why it's relevant. The signal directly addresses Microsoft's internal development, and it talks about why that is relevant to Signaliz.com. So I will show you in a minute how it knew that, but if you remember the prompt, right? If you go back to the prompt here, the prompt is actually asking it to find recent signals related to Signaliz.com. The other thing is we've given it an ICP ID. So you don't have to do this, but you can. And if you give it an ICP ID, which by the way, in Signaliz, you go to ICP identification, you go to Signaliz, you copy the ICP ID, and that's what allows you to put it right there. And then I did not enable deep research, which I could have, but I enabled some deep signal layer, outreach intelligence, et cetera. So when you do that, what you get is very detailed level information. So we're all familiar with Microsoft. Let's pick someone maybe that's a little bit less familiar. Let's go with, I don't know, HCL Tech. So let's see what we get out of them, right? So why is HCL Tech relevant for Signaliz? Well, they launched an AI-powered sales lifeform transformation system for cloud leaders. Here's the source that happened on October 9th. And here's a direct correlation to why that's relevant for Signaliz. I mean, pretty cool. It looks like they launched 50 industry-specific AI agents, and that was a partnership, and that was on November 15th. And then they had a customer engagement platform. So a lot of different relevance data. And then, we give you, besides the signal data, a summary, right? And so here's some key insights into HCL, their human in the loop process, what they're actively building and deploying, key themes about the company, an outreach summary. So this is where you could, guess what, have a one-liner hook, what their strongest signal is, what we recommend from an angle perspective, conversation starters, and then signal relevance detail, right? All on its own. We give you some competitive context. If they mention competitors, we add that there. We give you timing intelligence, when you should reach out to them. And then we give you the underlying metadata of where all of this come from. So, right, we're not trying to build in a box. We're trying to build in front of you. Deep signals. What are they doing and why does that matter? Meaning the company is actually investing in AI and ML. So as they scale in sales, they're likely going to use and need Signaliz. So think about the correlation we're making here, right? We're now looking at what they're doing. We're analyzing that and we're telling you why it matters, right? And this goes as far as telling you why it applies to the company in very, very detail in your talk track. And I like this one. It was kind of my creation there, but cheap observable clues. Like we're giving you obvious clues that we're picking up on from what they're doing. So it's a lot of data, and I don't want you to be overwhelmed by all the data. And I'm going to show you how to incorporate this in just a second into your outreach, right? So we now have signals. Let's look at a few in the table. Let's just import them. So we're going to say signal source type. We'll go title. We'll go source itself, content, and relevance reason. And then let's even do let's look at the outreach intelligence. How about, that's a lot of detail. Let's just maybe grab predictive layer, predictive rules fired. I love this, making predictions on what's going to happen next. But maybe we just go, I think we got everything. Did we get the relevance reason? Yeah. Let's get the date here. So let me get back in here. And pricing, signals. Let's just grab the date here. We'll just use one simple signal, right? I think I actually want to take it up one step further and just say, let's throw in some creative PS lines. That makes it fun. All right. So, and why don't you just look at these PS lines? They're pretty awesome. Do you see how they're directly related to Signaliz? But they're, uh, you know, pretty valuable as far as writing copy. So let's do this, right? Now, let's, we use Octave. So let's talk about how we would integrate this into our Octave copy agents, right? So let's just say Octave generate, let's see, create personalized content, run sequence agent, right? So let's make sure we're getting into ours here. And then I think we got everything we need there. And then this is run sequence agent, so perfect. I don't know if we picked we have a direct sequence agent in here, but I think we're pretty good. So let me save this and see what happens here. Perfect. Now we have the sequence agent, and then we're going to inject all of this input. Now, here's where I want to tell you what's crazy about this is that you can now take whatever you want in Octave and import that as runtime context. And so let's take the signal relevance reason, which is right here, and find that. Perfect. And that's the context we're going to give Octave. And then this is an observation and signal of why the company should use Signaliz. Incorporate that into the copy. All right. So now here's what you got to understand, right? This agent is already informed by all of this information. Now we've given it our signal data and we've telling it what to do. This can be anything. Remember all these columns? You can you can do whatever you want, right? And take this data. I could have taken the PS line and told it to incorporate it, and now that's going to inform my copy. So let's just run a few. Hopefully this works. I'm missing something. Okay, so I'm missing the agent. So what I don't know is why I can't pull that up. So I think this is, maybe I'm not connected. Yeah, so it says I am. So let's get back. This is, real time, right? That's a nice thing. So maybe this one will pull it up. Yeah, same thing. So I'm not getting the drop down. So maybe I'll use one of our other ones. Maybe Bilal's will work. Nope. And I'm just trying to find. I don't want to use like a client account, but I guess I could see if yeah. There you go. So we'll just use that one, and then we'll use this agent. And so let's just see what happens if I run that. And we can look, and then we'll just test the theory. Is it doing what I said it was going to do, right? Is it injecting the signal information that I said it was going to, right? So let's just run them all. All right. And so while we're doing that, while it's running, what I would do from here, right, is I'd go to instantly and I would add lead to a campaign. And then I would pick one, right? And then let's just we'll pick the Signaliz campaign here. And then I've got all the data, right? I need to make sure, obviously, we're entering our verified emails, which is correct, the email column. And then in a minute, we'll map the copy. So real quick, we don't have the copy map, but we'll put that in personalization. So what I want you to see in the copy is we are getting the email, right? And what we've done is kind of mixed data points here. So this is an Octave agent for this client, but you can see how it's creating unique information here. And every email is completely different. And so as you can see now, as I scroll through here, we're getting different emails, right? That is completely unique. And what I want you to notice is the signal data that's coming in here. Like there's no tool that would just know this, but we're giving it signal data. Boom. Let's just pull them up. Amazon's recent signal initiative to unify 2.5 billion customer signals. Like, how would you know that unless you're using Signaliz, right? And so the key here is you can structure this whatever you want, but you can see we're specifically addressing what we're observing with Signaliz, right? And so we're making our emails that much more informed, right? So now that we do that and we've done that, we can just add that column as personalization here, and we can push that. Let's see, what did I call that? Email to. It's down here somewhere. Oh, and now we can push that directly into our instantly campaigns, right? And then if we wanted to as well, like we could do the same thing with HeyReach, right? So I could come in and HeyReach, and I could add lead to a campaign, and then I could push these custom fields, which is my copy. If I wanted to write emails or sequences for HeyReach, I could do the same. And I would just add this email or whatever output I wanted. In Octave, right? Remember, we're using Octave because we can qualify that. But I can just as easy, right? If I don't have Octave, I can add and take the signal intelligence data and just, and let me just show you how you do that. Add enrichment, and let's just say Clay, or actually, let's just say AI. I'm going to show you how easy this is. And I'm going to, I don't even need to prompt it. So let's not use web search. Let's hit create modify content. And then for now, I don't know, we can use GPT, I don't know. Let's do GPT-5 mini. And then let's say, take the signal relevance reason and this is where I want to get very, very unique and write a custom email to at and then the company name. I mean, trust me, I would spend a lot more time on this prompt, but let's just test it. Let's just see what we can get out of it. I mean, basic GPT stuff, right? And this is without using, like, if you don't have Octave, right? But let's just see how good it is. Like, I didn't spend a lot of time on it, but let's just see if it works. Give it a second here. We're doing 25. And look, right? So watch this. Like, I mean, here's what's crazy, right? Like, what did that cost? I don't know. I could do thousands of them for a penny. But look, if you look at the format of these, right? Just like that, look how detailed that email is, right? It's crazy. Yeah, 100% unique. And I didn't use Octave, I didn't use anything, right? I just injected the data and then I included very specifically like the goals and the outputs of the APIs, right? And so we're getting highly detailed emails now. You probably don't want to thin these. Obviously, you don't want all these weird characters in there. But, you would refine this to get better. But these are pretty good emails and they're very detailed. And all I did was give it signal content. And I love like congratulations on the move to AI infrastructure. It's a clear signal. Like these are professional emails and I really didn't prompt it at all. So you have options here. I use Octave. We use Octave as an agency because you're going to get a lot more context in the ICP, a lot more customization in the copy. And there's just not a better copywriter on the planet than Octave, especially because it's informed. What we've done is now build in that ICP and feed into Signaliz so that our signals are informed by that ICP. And we're finding signals that are relevant and signals that just aren't your typical find hiring, find, the same crap that everybody else finds. So, and that's it. So I push these to instantly, I push these to Hey Reach. And, in recap, what we've done here, right, if you remember, is that we came and we selected the ICP. We pulled the companies from our Signaliz company database of 50 million companies. We then came into Clay with those companies. We started with this webhook of companies, right, that we just pulled. And then that was 30 minutes ago. We pulled those. And then we came and we used Clay to find people, which didn't cost us anything. And then we found like 25 emails to start. We could have pulled 2,500 if we wanted to. And with those validated emails, right, we then came in and did signal enrichment, right? And we chose to export the first signal, but we could have, just exported whatever signals we want. We made a choice out of all of this data we give you to use just the signal title, source, content. I don't know if I even showed you this, but if we sort by date here, just the relevancy of these signals is what's crazy too. I mean, this one is from today, all of them within 90 days, right? And that's by default. We created custom PS lines. Like, how cool is that? And then finally, we integrated that into Octave. And then for people without Octave, I just showed you real quickly with the GPT prompt how you could write emails that were informed just using, GPT. And that cost us, again, like thousands of a penny. So at the end of the day, this is how we're actually building and sending campaigns. There's a lot more you can do to customize this, but Signaliz has just been a huge ad. We're not just saying that because it's our product. We're saying that because we run $1 million agency. And we were looking for competitive advantages in a fast-moving world with AI. And now we have it because we can deploy this, and we have deployed this for a multitude of clients, even at the enterprise level. And it's making a difference because if you're going to talk to somebody and you're going to do outreach, you need to be relevant. You need to know what you're talking about. You need to be reaching out to specific people in the ICP. And when you do that and you do that well, you get better results. It's not always blasting 100,000 emails. It's about getting the right emails out to the right person and addressing things that are relevant and make sense, and not just trying to sell a solution, but trying to understand and do a good job explaining why your solution is a good fit for that client. So Signaliz has made a difference for us in doing that. Having our own email validation and email finding and verification has made a huge cost difference. And the ability to take this and get better every day for our clients is really what's driving this. So at the end of the day, I hope this gives you the practical application of how you can use Signaliz, from finding companies to finding contacts to verifying and validating emails and finding emails, and then creating informed signals with multiple layers of intelligence that will help you do professional outreach. Have a great day.